So good morning and welcome to the Evident Proof demo. My name is Ian Taylor. Now, both myself and Matt Roden run these demos twice weekly at around 10 a.m. on a Tuesday and a 4 p.m. Thursday London time. And now the purpose of the demo really is to give you an overview of what Evident Proof is, how it works, and what we'll do then is run through a sample workflow of one of our clients and looking at how they use the Evident Proof system to store their data immutably. So what is Evident Proof and what is the Evident Proof service? So Evident Proof is an enterprise platform for storing immutable proof of evidence. Now, what does that mean and why would this be important to a business? So the platform and technology works in a certain way. What we do is we take your data hash or a hash of your data structure and we convert it into something called a proof seal. Now, this can be stored in an immutable way on a technology called the blockchain. Now, the blockchain has some unique properties. It stores data in a decentralized, distributed way. And this means it distributes the data across thousands of computers. And this means that the data is stored in a way that it's basically unhackable. So storing data in a mutable way means it can't be changed, it can't be tampered with. Now, because of the way that the data has been stored, you could then take this data and it could be used later down in a court of law to present proof of evidence of that data. Now, this could be in a patent scenario or in an audit or even a compliance scenario. So what we would do as a service, we would give you proof of your evidence. Now, we have a number of clients using the system today. One of them is the largest supplier of government taxi licensing solutions to the UK local government. And effectively, their line of business solution deals with the checks and balances around the governance of issuing a taxi license. So why would they need to store that data in an immutable way? So there's been a number of cases or a number of articles in the press which have stated in the last year in the UK alone, there's been 150,000 taxi licenses that were issued to drivers. And some of these drivers had criminal convictions. Some of them had drink driving bans. There were a number of areas that needed to be addressed. Now, at this point, there's a burden of proof on the company and obviously more importantly on the local government to prove that they carried out all of these checks and balances and that the results were not somehow falsified by either the drivers or whoever may have gained access to that data. So using the Evident Proof service, they're able to prove that these checks and balances have been made and that the data hasn't been tampered with. So what we can do is we can show you a view of how this solution or system works for the taxi licensing, but I can't show you the full line of application. What I can do is sort of show you a trimmed down version of the demo, which effectively just shows you how they would go ahead in creating a taxi license and how that would go onto the Evident Proof system and be converted in a proof seal, storing it immutably in a distributed fashion on the blockchain. So bear with me a second and let's flick into the taxi license solution. So as you can see here, this particular screen is just really a demo of how we would go ahead and create a taxi license. So if I click create now, this essentially would be your own line of application or your own business application that you would be using to collect data in. It could be an online database, it could be anything. Really, this is just a demo to show you how we could go ahead and capture that data and push this through to the Evident Proof platform. So let me just go ahead and quickly create a license. So as you can see, there's a number of fields here. There could be multiple fields. If I were to do a criminal record check, I would be able to attach all of those pieces of information there. And obviously I could add a license in. I would expect to do far more checks of this and also confirm that I've done an identity check. And this could be a large background check. It could involve PDFs. It could involve many pieces of data, all of which could be uploaded to the platform. And your solution can be sort of fully customized. Any data that you want to push onto the platform, we can work with you to create that. So once I've created this license, if I then go back, if I go into the proof seal now, and as you can see, this is the new license that's been created. Now, let's describe a little bit about the data that we're looking at. The first is the dispatch header or the dispatch ID. Now, the dispatch ID is the API call into the service, and it's really just the dispatch of the evidence records into the evident proof service. And then you've got the actual evidence itself. Now, the evidence is a fixed schema, and this ensures that we can correlate between the evident proof and that has been stored on the blockchain. And we expect the data to be presented in a fixed schema. We then got the where and the when. So as you can see here, effectively, we've got an IP address. Now, this could be geolocation, but it's normally the IP address of the solution if it's online. And we've also got the when. Now, the when's obviously very important. We've got the timestamp, and this is obviously being recorded on the blockchain. And then the PSU. Now, this cross-reference here allows you to check that this key relates back to the same data in your database of line of business application. Now, this data could really be a single key or a compound key or an ID or an asset. This is whatever you need it to correlate back to into your source system. So we have a key and a key value as well. And any developers obviously would be familiar that this is a way of storing information on the blockchain, and you've got you could not only store a single key, you could store multiple keys. In fact, the dispatch could store many pieces of evidence, and this could be in any form, documents, whatever you needed it to be. So you can also see here we've got the JSON. So the JSON is a representation of the form's data. This could be a single field or multiple fields, or if you wanted to, you could store the whole English language or War and Peace on there. It's really what you need to store within the solution. And then finally, we've got the proof seal. So this is a hash of all the data effectively. And what this proof seal is used for is for a checksum verification of the data later. Now, none of your data is revealed within this seal, but it does prove your data. We've then got the dispatch ID itself. Now, the dispatch receipt, this receipt is returned to you by the API call, and effectively this receipt is your method of saying that this data has been immutably stored on the evident proof blockchain. And this is also how you could navigate back to the data on the evident proof platform. So now I've gone through this process. The proof certificate really is literally just a document that I can create that pulls all of this information together that we've discussed. And you could present this in a court of law, and it would confirm that data was stored on the blockchain in a certain way through the evident proof platform. So let's assume a year down the line, somebody's come along and they've challenged the integrity of a particular data or a particular data transaction, and we therefore need to go back and prove that data. So what we can do is generate a new proof certificate. Now, this can be done, and I'm going to click here, as you can see, and immediately it's created a new certificate. Now, this could be done automatically through an API call, or through a remote link as well. So when we create a proof certificate, what happens is we put out a request, and this goes off to the blockchain, and that checks the data and the seal, and then it finally checks that it matches our source data. So if we have a look at the certificate now, so obviously all of this information looks very, very familiar. The only thing that we've got here is the final two fields. And we've got a transaction ID, which is really the key to the certificate. And this proves all of the data that we've said here. So as you can see, what we could do here, this is just a standard data structure, but we could fully customize this to whatever solution you were looking at deploying. All of the proof certificates can be customized as well in the forms of PDFs. And essentially, that's the evident proof service. Now, if you've got any questions, please put them over on Telegram, and we'll be running the next demo. I think this will be Thursday at 4 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you. That's great. Thank you.